everyone, it is me, Shar, and I would like to say thank you so much for stopping in or tuning in to my channel. For my new followers, or if this is your first time watching one of my videos, thank you so much for stopping by. On my channel, I do money bouquets, like a lot of crafting things, but I've also started to show like another side. I definitely love to travel, so I've included some of those details as well. Now, this video, I'm uploading it late. I had recorded this back before Valentine's Day, and I was just so busy. I never had the opportunity to actually post it and do the voiceover. So I'm doing it now. Better late than never. And I have a couple other things content-wise that I'll be uploading in the upcoming weeks. As you know, it is May, so Mother's Day just happened. Graduation season is approaching us. But remember, you can use money bouquets for so many different reasons. And even though this one has a heart on it, you can use these bouquets for birthdays, anniversaries, just another way to say I love you. You know, whatever you make these money bouquets, you can even use this one for graduation too. So think outside of the box. But this is just a simple way to do. So as always, I start off by taping my sticks to the bills. You can do this different ways, but I only use one piece of tape, and I use the tape cutter that I bought. It pre-cuts the pieces, like once you scroll it. It was a game changer for me. But you can decide, you know, like for yourself. All the items that I use in these videos, I will link them. Because most of the stuff I do get from Amazon. There are some things that I got from the $1.25 tree, I like to call it. But yeah, tape them there. So to find your marking, you fold the bill in half, but I kind of know where it goes already just because I do it so much. But if you need help with the placement, that's what you're going to do. You're going to fold that bill in half and put that stick right there and place the tape on it horizontally. I know I'm yapping a lot in this video in the background. I like when I make stuff and there's somebody there to talk to. If I don't have anybody to talk to while I'm making these money bouquets, I will usually turn on one of my TV shows, you know, like the ones where you can listen, where you don't necessarily have to look up the whole time. Yeah, one that you can just sort of glance up every now and then too, or, you know, when you hear something interesting, that's where you hurry up because you kind of have to look while you're making the bills. But for the people that have not making the bills while you're making the bouquet, for the people that make these money bouquets, what do you do when you are preparing your bills? Do you do them all at once? Do you do the whole thing? Like right now, how I'm doing the sticks and then I'll fold them. Do you do the stick and then do you fold it right after? Or do you do one thing at a time, like all sticks, then all folds, and then get to the gist of it? Let me know what you do. Also, do you talk to people while you do this? Or do you watch TV? Do you listen to music? What do you prefer? Do you do it all at once, or do you break it down into sections? So maybe some people might spend a certain number of hours, you know, per day just doing different things. Like you might spend some time preparing your bills one day and that's all you do so that they're ready. So when you get these orders, you don't have to take the time to make this stuff. Or do you just do everything as it comes along? I do mine as it comes along because I work full time. But if I had, you know, more time, I would probably prepare some bills in advance, especially when you know that it's going to be a busy season. It's very helpful, you know, to do that. Also, I get a lot of questions about the pricing of my bouquets. So, of course, you always want to cover the cost of your supplies. So that's added in. You want to charge the amount of money that they're putting in there. So if they want a $50 bouquet, make sure you're charging them, that money in the supplies. And then your labor, your time. Now, I charge per bill, but some people might not want to do it that way. It's just easier. It's just a set price so that people know what they're paying up front. So, if you want to do $200 worth with 50 bills, you're going to get charged labor for folding up, and making 50 bills. So that is up to you to decide. But I always post my prices on my pages so that people know, so they don't think, I'm doing anything different. Sometimes I will give returning customers, there's people who have ordered 7 to 10 money bouquets off of me. They're my go-to. I definitely do sometimes. And you could do that a customer appreciation thing, or, have a card. Once you purchase this amount, maybe you get $5 off, or maybe you get, 10% off. It just depends on what you're pricing it. Or, you can include an upgrade for free. I created a bouquet that someone used for a funeral, for the condolences. And I put how there's a bleeding heart. I put that on there, and I had the ribbon go across. So the ribbon could be something that, is a free upgrade, where it had that and it had writing in gold where it's hey, I included this for you for free. Just as a customer appreciation. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you coming back to me. There's a lot of people who do money bouquets. So when people come to you, and then when people refer other people to you, that means a lot. That's speaking highly of your craftsmanship or, your abilities. So take that as a compliment. I love when people are referred to me. That's a great deal because you're getting me more business. But yeah, so the green thing is the tape dispenser. I have a couple of these. And it has different sizes. So I think it was actually used for heat tape, for when you're doing the heat press stuff. They have a size for that, but they also have the size for the regular tape roll. So I use that as well. But yeah, I'm going to stop talking for a second. And this is one where you can follow along. So usually I will speed past this part, but I kind of wanted to let you see the amount of time that it takes. And this is only sped up by 2. So it's just 2 times faster than the original footage. And that's just to give you an idea of how long it takes. So I think this video might be 20 something minutes. So it probably took me an hour to create everything. So just realistically, an hour of your time, what do you want to charge for labor for that? Just back to that. And in this video, I also do show folding a little bit more up close. And, just my process of figuring things out. Now, if you just see that piece that I put down, I actually put a piece of tape in the middle as well. So usually you see how I'm taping that right there, and I just do the end. Sometimes it doesn't seem like it's holding right. So where you connect the folds, I sometimes will put another piece of tape there just to make it secure, just to make it the shape that I like it to be. You don't have to do that, but it's just the OCD kind of thing in me where I try to get them the same size, in the same shape. Now, I always do this fold that sort of makes the heart shape, but there's another fold out there that's called the lotus shape, and it's more where they just cross each other. It kind of looks like it's a very cute fold, but I'm so nervous about trying that one because I just have to learn how to secure it better. So I did try one before, and it was kind of wobbly. So I may have to do a little bit more research and try some things out, because I would like to try different designs and techniques. And also, as I said, I'm used to like folding the bills this way with the green part on the outside. I've seen people reverse them and have like the white part on the outside, and they're folding the green thing. So that might be something that I would try different, just to zhuzh it up a bit. I wonder what it would look like, if I created them with the folds going the other way, and if it would still give the same effect to people, or if they want it that way because they're so used to seeing my pictures with them one way. Would it be a turn off to customers, or would it be okay? Is this an option that you give your customers, or is it just something that you do, on the fly? These are all things that whenever you're making things, well, I can't say whenever I'm making things for other people, that I would want to take into consideration. Because if they see certain things a certain way online, that's how I get some of my customers. They may want that same thing. So it's always good to take that into consideration. Let's just talk a little bit more about customers while I have that going on. Like, how do you manage your customers? How do you let them know your policies, your rules? I kind of have things printed out. I have people read it and say that they agree to it before, making the purchase. I do require that everything be paid up front. There's no deposit. That's something that's funny to me when people say, do you want a deposit? No, because guess what? I'm ordering the supplies specifically for you, and the amount of money is specifically for you. Sometimes it's like a combination that isn't common for people. And then guess what? My time. So when you order things online, from stores, I can't say you don't get to do a deposit, but you pay people up front. Even when you're using them payment apps where they could have you paying for, the company is still getting paid up front, I believe. So everything is up front. And after, you place the order, there's no refunds. There's no changing your mind. There's no, I don't need it anymore. So I have all that clearly stated in my policy. And of all the orders I've created, I've only had one person, and it was family, to say they didn't need it anymore. So I was like, that's what kind of made me come up with it. Sometimes you want to give people, the benefit of the doubt. But remember, this is your business. Protect your business and protect your time. So the time that I spent making it, luckily it was, for Valentine's. And that's when I had my booth. My booth. So I just took it to my booth at the flea market. And guess what? It sold that weekend. And then it was funny because they were like, oh, do you still have it available? I changed my mind. Look, this is not change my mind. This is for people who are who are serious, and committed to getting this done. But thankfully, I've only had that happen to me once. And now I have these policies in place so that it won't happen again. So basically, once you order this, that, there are no refunds. So whatever you needed it for, or, you broke up with somebody, guess what? You better find somebody else to give it to, or you better sell it, or, do something. Because after I create this, after you send that money, it is not my problem what you do with it afterwards. Another thing that I do to try to make sure I'll send, pictures of bouquets that I created before, so they can sort of view different sizes. I let them know the kind of flowers that are available. I tell them this isn't a factory. It's not like I have a, what do you call it? Like a print with certain, designs. So these are all handmade customly. So it's not guaranteed to be, exactly like that, but use it for inspiration. Okay, so we're on to the heart. Dollar Tree had these hearts on sale. So I bought them. They also had these foam papers on sale. So what I did, and I made a couple more of these. If you check out my shorts, you can see another one that I made that actually I like better than this one with the teddy bear because I put roses on it. But it looked so cute. So what you do is you see me using a hot glue gun, and I just put that foam sheet in there. And I'm pressing it in like the little grooves so that I know it's secure. And I want that heart in the front to be nice and flat, which it is. So now I'm just trimming off the excess red paper that was, like left. It was too big for that. But these supplies I got from the Dollar Tree. But, of course, some of them are seasonal. So you kind of sometimes have to get it when you can get it. Maybe buy it in advance. Because then what happens is I post it and people see it. And then they want it. And then I go back and sometimes it's not available. So sometimes I do have to buy things in advance. Although I try not to do that, buy things in bulk. I do buy the paper in bulk. And I do buy some of the flowers in bulk because it just helps with the cost sometimes for the customer. Although I do have a set supply price because typically I'm using the same amount. And then just remember what you're paying for stuff, inflation. So that little foam piece, once again, that was from the Dollar Tree. So that's a lot of dollar items that I just used in that bit. This was another Dollar Tree item. It had a little clip on there. So I think initially I did clip it on, but I think I ended up gluing it on with the hot glue gun just to make sure it stays. So now I also found these little acrylic hearts. They were so cute. I think I got them off of Amazon or maybe Shein or one of those places, but super cute. And they have, that little backing. The one time I did one of those acrylic things that said happy birthday, and it was just looking so dull. And I knew like the piece on the back because it was blue to take it off, but there was a piece on the front, and initially I gave it with that on there, and it was like so awkward. So please check to see if there's a piece on the front as well and take that off. Now to secure this to the teddy bear, I most definitely glue gunned it there. And see, this is what you got. Super cute, super different. Just trying to think outside the box. So the next thing is we went to secure this because we got to put our flowers around this. Now remember, this is my first time trying this, so kind of wasn't a good idea to put those bears on there first. I'm trying to think. I definitely wanted it sturdy. And I believe it stayed, but if you're nervous about that, you can also, once you put the sticks where you want them to be, glue them in. But I believe they were pretty much sturdy. All right, and then this block, remember this square block is kind of small. So I probably could have used a bigger block, but then, you got to wonder, will it fit in your pail or whatever you use. Some people just actually wrap the paper around this and use that as a bouquet. I've done that before, but only for the smaller ones. Anything like that's $30 or more, like 30 bills, I like to put it in a pail just for support so that it sits there. So I'm just looking at it to see if I like the placement of it. Some stuff, you want to be careful not to cramp up your ones as much, because when you do that, sometimes it smushes them and it makes them turn in a different direction. So leave enough space, let them breathe, and try not to move them in and out as much, because the holes in the foam can make them wobbly as well. But you got to do what you got to do, and you have to find that angle that, you feel looks the best. So also don't be afraid to move it around. But you see that? So I have to get them a certain way. And then once I'm okay with that, row or circle or heart shape, then I go around, to the next row. So always look at your work. People that are like chefs, they're like, oh, you got to taste it and make sure, it tastes okay. If you need to add this or do that, it's the same. Remember, this is a work of art. So look at your work. Make sure you like where things are setting. If you don't, rearrange it. Another thing that used to always get me is, so I'm using different amounts of flowers, different shapes, different sizes. I used to get so caught up on making sure it evenly fit around the thing. Like there's so many times I've pulled these money bouquets apart because the money didn't line up perfectly around it. Like I feel like when I get to this closure, there shouldn't be any bills left, or I need to do it. Like it works fine if you use a certain number all the time and you know what that number is, but I do so many different shapes and things. And guess what I've figured out? That it doesn't have to be perfect. So like these extra ones that aren't in the shape, you can fit them, like you can kind of look and see like, oh yeah, I could put another one there, but ultimately when you add the paper around it, it blends in real good. Or what I do is sometimes that's where I'll use the butterflies or other things that you're adding. I like to clean up as I go sometimes because it's a lot of stuff. The folding, everyone's favorite part, right? Just kidding, that was my sarcasm. So I fold it like sort of on a diagonal and then a diagonal again. Now, I've gotten better with this. So when I did this, from the time I did this in February till now, I do it even better. See how I just folded them different ways? Like, no, okay, yeah. Like, it's easier when you have the paper the same way and you're doing the same thing. Now, this fold is a little better, but me now, I would slide that diagonal piece down a little more. Yeah, but you see how I looked at it? I mean, but it'll work. That's the other thing. Do not... Folding this paper takes some practice, but don't beat yourself up about it. Like I said, I do it different now, and that's kind of like spread out. I don't spread it out as much anymore. So, I mean, it just depends. It'll still look, good however you do it, but I just found a way that is a little bit better. So I put one piece of tape, but I think now I actually use 2 pieces of tape. So what I do is, like you see how it's sort of on a diagonal? Now I like mine more even. And I'll upload, newer videos, and I'll actually be making a couple new videos. I want to try to go live, but when I go live, it doesn't get as many views. I don't know if I'm like not doing a notification right, because I would like to do a live video so you can like see almost how I did this today, the actual process and getting stuff right. But I put one on each side in the middle of each, block. And then I put one piece of tape like at the point, so at the ends. And then I tape like where they overlap. I put a piece of tape there, like to hold the paper together. And I sort of pull it so that it's a little snug. Here's something, like I said, this was done. And each time I do these, and the more I do, the better I get. I try to find things that work better so I can report that to you and just, make stuff easier in general. But it helps if you pull it tight. And I actually should have checked before putting all this tape on it like that. Just took a peek. Yeah, like how I do that to make sure. That's what I usually do, to make sure that that's lining up where I need it to go. Okay. And then the last part is putting a piece of paper over the bottom part. And I literally just put a piece of paper. Now, I might be adding this extra tape to secure the ends a little more, which you can do. If you find stuff that doesn't feel secure to you, you can do that. Instead of putting the tape on the outside like I did of the overlapping pieces, another thing you could do is use double-sided tape and do it on the inside. I've done so many different ways There's no right or wrong way. You just have to do what works for you. Okay? And this is literally placing this piece of paper over it. Now here's where you can tie like on a bow, but it fits snugly in the cans that I get, and you'll see. Now, not this can. This is a different can. And first, like, that's too much going on. We got the different color hearts and stuff, all this red and white paper design. I was like, I don't know if I'm feeling that. So I'm like, okay, I got another bucket that I'm going to try, and you'll see when I do that. Okay, so what I did right now, you see how these papers or paper, the floral paper is hanging down, the one that I just put on top. I'll use those glue dots to sort of connect it to the bouquet paper. So now you see how it's up there. It's your choice. I didn't really like the hanging look of it. I sort of like it up and to cover some of that stuff. But once again, it's your choice. It's your artwork. There's no right or wrong way. Do what you feel is beautiful. This is how I like it. So you'll see people that, you know, might not have it that way. And that's fine. You might not like it that way. Like, what is this, you know? Because I've never been one for flowers. I'm allergic to flowers. So, you know, I'm just doing like what I feel. And then you can always look at it and, you know, it's just double-sided tape. So how that piece is hanging down, I don't have to have that. And then it changes the bucket. But like I said, I really wasn't feeling that bucket. And remember, anytime your product goes out, that's your name on the line. That's your name connected to it. So I was just like, let's try this one. Guess what? That's still, to me, I didn't like it. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do my usual. I'm going to do my bucket, and I'm going to wrap it in the paper. Now, this bucket, so here's the other thing. The Dollar Tree, there are 2 different lengths for these buckets. This is a taller one, and I usually do the shorter ones. It should still fit in there, but just be cognizant of it. I like the shorter ones better. This one is just like a little bit taller. I do like the shorter ones better. And I just press it down in there. And believe me, these things have fallen a few times. Oh, here's a little teddy up close with the Valentine's Day thing. Now I can add it back on. And voila, magic. There you have it. But let me know what you think. Was it helpful for you to see this at like more of a normal speed and not cropped out? Do you like it with this teddy bear on there? Do you like it off? I always love your feedback, you know, when it's done respectfully. I definitely appreciate it because it helps me. I'm still, you know, learning how to do this stuff. But as always, thank you so much for watching. And let me know if you make this or something like it. Bye.